Popcorn rice after discussion.
Want to know some more fun facts?
Isn't it awesome to see some of your favorite content creators and favorite people, honestly, that you follow here on this app, be a part of this amazing community called the Nerd Initiative?
There was actually a new post. You just brought this to my attention by Jeremy Renner just a little bit over 37 minutes ago, where he's taking a picture with the ICU team and he's just thanking them for, it looks like Renowned Medical, and just thanking them for that. And of course, he got all of them in there. And he's got crazy hair, but thankfully the nurse next to him has crazy hair too. But it's good to see he's doing well.
Talking about the hair.
I do. I do. They're trying to do the Rothman hair, but they're not succeeding. So, but
the Rothman hair is slacking these days as I get older. But I mean, jokes aside, I mean, thank God. I think we were talking about this when I used to work for ABC, and I remember what was it? I think it was like 2016. Yeah, winter 2016. 2016 was just an awful year. I mean, Carrie Fisher and then her mom the next day. And it tends to be, and I know they say this and like there's probably no logical rhyme and reason, but like when something starts this way, it usually ends up being a trickle effect. And we had obviously DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah.
I mean, so many, and he's doing better. Today he addressed his team for the first time. So, I mean, I'm just really glad to see that Jeremy Renner's doing better. We didn't lose, a great quality actor, one of our favorites, like in something tragic at the beginning of the year. And then it always feels like, and I'm sure it's not, again, I know this is not true, but it always feels like once the domino hits it, and then just like, it's just heart wrenching. So I'm just glad that he's doing better. He seems to be okay. He's probably going to be affected for years, if not his life, with his leg and everything, but yeah, he's alive. His family has him back. Thank God. So that's all I can say. Like,
well, it was like anytime you have individuals that are just like the situation he was in, he was doing something good, helping a car out of a ditch. The plow rolled back on him, like severely injured his leg, bleeding a lot, injured his chest, which was part of the reason why he had to do multiple surgeries. It immediately brought me back to Anton Yelchin. I'm thinking I'm pronouncing his name properly. He got out of his Ford Escape. The escape brake system didn't work. It rolled back and the door pinned him up against a fence and killed him instantly. And it's like, and that was a young man who, first of all, he was a cool young man. Like I was really excited about the work he did, like on Star Trek, as Chekhov, and then even like the movies like that he did that were smaller, like Odd Thomas. That's still on Netflix and does well. He was just a really, and I think he did the remake for Fright Night, which honestly, in some cases was better than the first one. But it was one of those things where it was like he had his whole future ahead of him, and then it was just cut off. And you hate to see like things because and then this also brings up something else that was going on around the same time. If you remember. There was a TikTok trend that was happening just the last couple weeks where people were telling their loved ones that celebrities had died when they hadn't. Did you see this on TikTok?
No. What kind of moronic
people were going on talking about how like Ben Stein dead at whatever age or this person. And what happened was Angela Bassett's son did it for Michael B. Jordan. Like he told her that Michael B. Jordan died. And she freaked out and she made him do an apology video because the thing is, like, you imagine
that's our queen.
We're coming off of Chadwick Boseman just passing away like the last 2 years. And it was like he definitely didn't read the room. And it was funny because I think everybody was kind of looking at the trend and wasn't thinking about it until you saw a reaction like that from her. And then you realize like this is it's we think that celebrities are so far apart, but these are real people with real families, and even if it's a joke, you don't want to see that. I mean, I don't understand why we have us on even like.
Do you know? Like, look again. Like, I am of the age, and we're about the same age. Like, I'm of the age where I have been working long enough to have like a before social media life. I remember when Twitter, I was just started to work when Twitter like came about, and people were like, I'm gonna take a shower. I'm eating pizza. Like that was like Twitter. Like But now, like, seeing the evolution of what social media is and how it's affected the world, and like we get our, you know, our news, and but do you know how many deaths have been reported on social media? Like,
Yeah.
I almost want to, like, I want to curse right now because it's just, it's so stupid. And again, I don't want to be that old man, like, get off my lawn, but like, this is just dumb. Like, again, I think it's a generational disconnect, because like, it's not, I want to almost curse, it's not funny.
No.
And there's so many things, like, and again, I have a closer perspective of it because I've been in the newsroom where you see something and you're like, please don't be right. And then it ends up being right. And it's like, hey, reports are coming in, and like someone posts like something, whatever. And you're like, oh, no, please don't. And it ends up being true. We had something recently, I think, that was like, you know, Kevin Conroy was one. I was hoping that was a mistake. Like, it was in his 50s.
Yep.
And again, like somewhat of a niche actor, but, you know, impacted a lot of people. And if you know him and you're a fan of him, like, such an amazing human being. And I was like, I hope they got it wrong, you know, because every now and then I think it's like 80-20 these days, which is really sad. Like, I think most of the time it's true, even in smaller blogs, smaller things. And then every now and then it's like incorrect. And like, I've been a part of that where you reach out to someone or their representative or whatever, and they're like, no, this happens all the time. I think it was every year was Robert Redford used to get those on Twitter where like Robert Redford has passed, and it would bubble up. And so, like,
yeah, they've done more than just him. Yeah, like some celebrities will take it on cheek and be like, you know, I'm surprised I haven't seen that I've died on the internet yet. Like they take it as a joke, but at the same time, it almost becomes it's the shock and awe value that I think some people go for. Like with Kevin Conroy, when Jason David Frank passed away, you know, it was almost like everyone was trying to cash in on the videos to say that the person passed away. And I get where some people are reporting, but at the same time, some other people, and then there was like the tribute videos upon tribute videos. And I wonder sometimes where the fine line is that we be respectful and we do our job. Like, I get for like Nerd Initiative, you know, we'll report on it. Like, unfortunately, in the midst of us talking about this, we do have a celebrity or an actor who has passed away this week that we're gonna mention, but I'm not gonna do like a tribute, I would say, on my personal TikTok account that's against, you know, it's different from my normal content, because I don't want it to sound like I'm being insensitive, that I'm just cashing out on the person being gone.
I think if you're a fan, it's okay. I think if you're not, you know, I think if you'll know there's a gut feeling. And again, like, this is people are going to be like, that's not correct. Like, this is not true. This doesn't exist. There's a gut feeling. I think if you're going out of your way, and I've been there, where it's like, should I post something? Should I post? You feel like you should. And, you know, especially if you get like in a rhythm of posting about news and whatever, if you feel like you're stretching to do it, then don't do it.
Well, think about this. You have major networks that report on the passings of people. And then when you have social media, it becomes trending. And then it's every tweet or every Instagram post or every TikTok video is going to be one after. I can tell you right now, when Jason David Frank passed away, it was like every other video on my feed, even though I didn't really consume Power Ranger content, was something to do with his passing. And I'm like, that if you're a family member, you have to just basically give up on the internet for like a couple months.
No, 100%. Because then there's going to be guesses about why they died and things like that. I will say, like, I mean, there are like, look, I two examples come to mind with Kevin Conroy. There was something that I posted, and I'm glad I did, and I thought it was amazing. It was him reading. Him and the person who plays Commissioner, I don't know his name, voices Commissioner Gordon in the animated series, reading the final scene from Dark Knight, in the, you know, like dubbing. And I thought that was great. And that it took off, but it was also just like, I thought it was great. Like, I think it's amazing. And it just shows like that, you know, as a fan, it shows like what that means.
Oh yeah.
So that's one. The other one, I think, like, you know, look, like when Robin Williams died, that was like the biggest news of the year, because of all the things around it. And we're not even gonna get into what happened and the details or whatever, but it was such a shock because it was like, wait, what? And I will say, like, there's the trending, like you said, which is kind of like, okay, whatever. But then there were some things where people were doing, like in class, like, oh, Captain, my Captain, and getting on their desk. Like, that's sweet and nice and shows that someone's a huge fan of like his. again,
Right.
I think that's the thing is like it's almost like stay in your lane without
Or
being,
also just be very sensitive to what you're doing. Like, and I think that's the thing. Like, I remember, what was it when the passing of Chadwick Boseman? Like, you had like the Marvel Studios role where it was all T'Challa, and we saw that in Wakanda Forever. But what a lot of people didn't know is like during with Black Panther being on Disney Plus, they immediately changed it to that as well. So like Disney did subtle things to do that. And then like when Stan Lee passed, you had the role for him. And, obviously anytime you hear, Stan Lee talking about, stuff, it gets me. I don't want to say too emotional, but at the same time, it's just like, I wish I would have been able to have known him more than just that short, conversation that I had. Because like, I think back on that's one of my favorite moments now in my life is that moment where I Stanley stopped the line to talk to me. And it's like I get that that's who I am. That's my, that's what I focus on. I'm excited about, and it meant a lot to me. And I had to have that moment and share. It's like when you have somebody that you feel like you're close to, and again, like some of these celebrities, especially some of these voice actors and people, you've grown up, seeing them do these things or write these things. It's like when George Perez passed away. It's like the amount, the impact in the industry that he had, and how the stuff that he made was amazing. Like I remember before he passed away, Ben Schubert was wanting us to do like just do a quick thing of thank you George Perez so he could see it. And then it became a thing that was replayed again after he passed, because you want to you want to encourage these people as they're still alive and as they're going through things. And I always hate that. I always hate when we kind of like we immortalize them after their life. It's like if you really appreciate people, try to show them that you care about them now. And I think like with people like Jason David Frank, he knew people loved him. He loved going and seeing his fans. I met him once and got to shake his hand and everything else. I wasn't like a huge fan, but I appreciate just that interaction with him, and he loved it. And it's like Robin Williams. Sometimes it's the funniest people that hurt the most, and it's like those are the things that we need to remember. Those should be reminders of us to reach out and go and give love to those people that are still with us. So,
well, I will, again, I think I've told this story before, and then we can move on from this, but I will say like, this is the thing you should take away from it, right? Like, obviously I'm a Kevin Conroy fan. I'm a Batman fan. Like Mark Hamill, a lot of people involved, I think, and I'm just more a fan of Kevin Conroy as a person. And I loved what he did with his, personal comic book that he came out with, now it's last summer, about, him being part of the LGBTQ community. And, I just thought that was amazing. And so I as a human being, I'm a bigger fan than Batman. But I will say, like, again, like the cautionary tale here is at Terrific Con, we were there. It wasn't too packed. The lines weren't that crazy. Actually, Jason David Frank might have been there as well, which is nuts. But and I wanted to get something, and now there's a Funko over here signed by Conroy that I had to buy because I wanted to have it. But I remember wanting to get something signed. I didn't have anything on me, and I was like, oh, I'll get it at another convention. Like I literally was like one of those like moments where I'm just like, I'll do it later. And it's one of the things, and like not to be selfish, like it popped up later on where I was like, oh man, like that's not going to happen again. And so like, again, if you're a fan of someone, to your point, tell them now, go appreciate them now. Talk if you want to have, people at different levels of like what they feel comfortable with, but like have a conversation with them now. Share what they mean to you now, and don't wait, because you just never know. Like you brought up Anton Yelchin, just freak accents like that. It's really sad and scary. And so, I think that's the big thing. And I think, with Renner, getting back to what we, started talking about in the first place with Renner, I think he's seeing like how much people love him with the responses he's gotten. And I really appreciate like the candid nature of what he's been posting and its updates. And
Yeah.
You know, he's got a little bit of humor. I mean, class act, you know, and letting his fans know he's okay. Like there was like one he posted where he was getting a head massage from his, I think his mom, like, you know, in the hospital. And, you know, he joked around about it, but like, I think that just shows the kind of character and kind of person he is. And so that's nice to see as well. And like I said, just thank God he's okay. I mean, it's road to go. And so I don't want to jinx anything or whatever. And I hope it continues to go in the path, but he looks like he's getting, you know, at least out of the critical stage.
Yeah.
And then we'll see where that goes from there. But like, just, you know, prayers with him, thoughts with him, whatever you stand, like, yeah, thank God we don't need that right now.